now that we've heard all the speakers, it's now your turn and opportunity to put your questions to them.
The issue arose of what would happen at the International Criminal Court's reviews in Kampala. And it's only just yesterday, I think, that I heard that something relatively successful had happened. There was a question of whether, first of all, the crime of aggression would be recognised as a duty of the court in terms of its jurisdiction. But secondly, the most important thing that we felt at this conference here was who would actually decide whether the crime of aggression had taken place or not. And it sat between the court itself, the justices, and our permanent five. And I think nearly everybody who was at the conference said not the permanent five. So in fact what happened that was not perfect was that it went for a kind of compromise, which was that it would be the justices who would make the decision, but that states would have some kind of right to be out of the picture, to reserve their viability. That's my share for this conference. Thank you.
I'm Dr. J.C. Batra. I'm a senior attorney in India, barrister. I have just visited. I'm very grateful to Mr. Vijay Mehta and want to congratulate him for giving us such an intellectual treat this evening from both Sir Richard and Frank Judd. I want to request the chairperson on behalf of an organization which I represent, Age Care India, looking after the aged in India, to present a small token of our Indian medal to all the three speakers.
Yeah, put it in his no, it should be wrong. Yeah, that's it. And to, no, the point I want to make is that I think it's Sir Richard Jolly's wife, she was speaking earlier, she made it that so long as these 5 permanent representatives remain, I can assure you no country of the world can have equality. If you want equality, first thing to do by the United Nations is abolish this inequality, and you will solve a lot of problems. If you ask the audience here present today, 90% will vote for abolishing these 5 security members. I'm not sure. And the second thing which I want to point out is that all the organs of the United Nations, including World Bank, IMF, UNDP, and even the so-called rich countries' aid to the poor countries, have increased poverty. Because their aim was not to make them rich, but how to enrich themselves. Yes. And yes. How to enrich themselves. And secondly, Mr. Vijay Mehta has made a point, so long as all these 5 countries, permanent members, what is their business? To sell arms, to create civil wars in the country and make money. Whatever they give, they take back by selling arms and not making them richer. Now, no country in the world, Sir Frank Judd has mentioned, ethics and responsibility, social. No country in the world has a ministry, including UK, for encouraging ethics, morality, or social responsibility. We have law and justice and all that, other department, but no country in the world has a minister for peace, minister for social responsibility, or minister for ethical morality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a very disturbing question. If I can remember the figure correctly, the government is planning to spend £97 billion on upgrading Trident. Trident is a massive overgrown by elephants, which cannot be used without starting a nuclear war.
Yeah.
My question is, can this disgusting evil obscenity be in any way justified? Thank you.
I think they weren't really questions, but...
Well, the last one was, do you want... well,
just like, first of all, I think the two...
I heard those.
We talked about the
yes.
Power of the Big Five, and then we had Trident.
Yes. Well, on Trident, if strictly the question is can it be justified, of course the UK government of all three parties has been justifying it. I don't personally agree. I prefer, because we could go on a long time, to quote Lord Mountbatten, who said that nuclear weapons are of no use anymore for armies. And he, of course, was the, for a number of years, the Commander-in-Chief of the British Navy.
Lord Jeff?
But, Chair, you were very kind and selective in your introduction about me, and very carefully forgot to mention that my first ministerial job was a defence minister. I hardly dare mention it in this gathering. But all I can say is that I simply cannot understand, and I wouldn't have understood it if my party is still in government, how, if you're going to have a fundamental defence review, you can ring-fence the nuclear deterrent and say that is exempt from the review. Because if the purpose of the review, and I know here, and I don't have to say, I mean, we go through this sort of ritual politely in a lot of quarters of Britain, I don't need to say it here, we're all friends. There are good pacifists here today whom I greatly respect. I always feel a bit insecure and defensive when there are pacifists around. But I am not a pacifist, and I believe in collective security and so on. But I have to say that a defence review at this juncture, if it makes any sense and is really far-reaching, must be a review which says, what are the future challenges to global security? I hope we would look at it in an international global setting and not just a silly insular setting. What are the challenges to global security and global stability? What is necessary from us to play our part in the international community in meeting those? Well then, if you do that, you then say, well, excuse me, how are these nuclear submarines relevant to the challenges of the future? Whom are we going to nuke with them? Well, I mean, I mustn't prejudge the issue myself because I've said it should be included. But I just think it is intellectually dishonest, and it goes right across the parties, I'm sorry to say that you're going to have a fundamental defence review, but that you exclude the nuclear deterrent. It just doesn't add up. You must include the nuclear deterrent in that context of that review. And I, for one, find it very difficult to see what the role of the deterrent would be in meeting the challenges of the future. I don't actually, just to show how unsound I am from the standpoint of some of you, I don't have the same fundamental feelings about the aircraft carriers at all. And some of you would say you wouldn't, would you? Because you were the MP for Portsmouth and you were a Defence Minister responsible for the Navy. So, but it's not just that. It is that I would have thought that if we were playing a part in the international community in global security, one of the things is flexibility, one of the things is the ability to be able to deploy peacekeeping forces, peace re-establishment forces and so on across the world, and to have a freestanding platform from which you can conduct your operations without necessarily having to invade the territory and actually take land as your base for operations. You have freestanding bases from which you can do this as part of the international community. Again, I think one has to examine that very honestly because there are pros and cons, but I don't write the carriers off just like that because I think it's possible to construct a quite important case in their favour. But on the nuclear deterrent, I'm going to take some persuasion.